I don't know who I can trust. Or who trusts me. But my friend Safi is dead.
Hi there guys, it's Aaron here coming at you live from Gamescom 2024, where I found a small moment of peace to tell you my thoughts on a little game called Life is Strange Double Exposure. So obviously this is the latest installment in the emotion meets supernatural narrative driven series Life is Strange, which features the return of original protagonist Max Caulfield back in the driver's seat. And this is very exciting because just as much as the Life is Strange series has changed, evolved and adapted over the years, so has Max herself. No longer is she merely restricted to rewinding time supernaturally to a couple of moments before. Now she can actually switch between two different timelines, which is intimately related to the new supernatural mystery at hand. So for those unaware, Life is Strange Double Exposure is set years after the events of Arcadia Bay, and we catch up with Max when she is at a university where she stumbles upon the death of her friend Safi, and she's given the choice to leave things as it is or hopefully try and save her by bouncing between two different timelines in which her friend Safi is alive and dead using a whole new power called Shift. And this is what I got to experience primarily in my demo, which took place in the office of a university campus with one of Max's professor friends, Moses, really nice guy, who for whatever reason at the scene of the crime where Safi's body was discovered decided to take her camera and hide it in his office. And my objective throughout the whole of the hour or so long demo was to try and retrieve that camera from his office while avoiding and averting the prying eyes of the menacing detective Alderman. I won't say he's menacing, I mean he's literally just doing his job at the end of the day, but this was already enough to keep me gripped and to really test out Max's new power set. So how it works is you can't just bump between the living and dead timelines at any one time. You have to find specific spots, and then with just a simple tap of the L1 button, Max will find herself in the alternate reality. And the whole reasoning behind this is because the only way that Max can find the camera evidence within Moses' office in the dead timeline is by temporarily transporting herself to the living timeline, gaining clues and information there, bringing it forward to her realistic timeline, and then using that to find the camera. I want to say this game looks absolutely amazing, easily the best Life is Strange game has looked for a long while, and I've played pretty much all of them, and it's just good to have Max back in the saddle. The evolution of her powers is a great way to sort of mirror the evolution of the character herself. She's still into her photography, the shooting mechanic makes a return, and in fact, without giving too much away, a solution to the puzzle was contingent and relied heavily upon Max's ability to use the camera, so that was really cool. We're piecing together clues, we're picking up items of interest, and we're engaging with a different version of Moses himself, obviously, where Safi didn't unceremoniously pass away, so it's a much lighter, more comedic and lighter toned timeline, and I really like that contrast which developer Deck 9 Games has even taken aboard to represent visually. In the timeline where Safi unfortunately passed away, everything's moody, grey, the music is quite dour, but then as soon as Max Caulfield shifts into the living timeline where Safi is still alive, everything's a bit brighter, there's light beaming through the windows, and we're able to explore the office in a much more light atmosphere. So I got to explore the office, find a load of clues, and ultimately the solution related to this pretty cool puzzle solving method that related to a star projector, which I don't really want to give away too much because I'm not quite sure how long a game Life is Strange Double Exposure actually is, but what I will say is that it looks to be a relatively meaty game with plenty of characters and emotional weight to get invested in, exactly what you want from a Life is Strange game, just as this. Obviously, the original developer Don't Nod Entertainment has their own Life is Strange style game coming up where you can also bounce between different timelines, and that's called Lost Records Bloom and Rage. Not actually got a chance to play that game yet, but from everything I'm seeing with Life is Strange Double Exposure so far, in terms of being and continuing to be the custodian of this prestigious jewel in the crown that is a Square Enix lesser, more indie-centric franchise, Deck 9 Games are still doing a phenomenal job. And dialogue choices are still a big part here, and my demo culminated in a pretty tense moment at the end where obviously I was, spoiler alert, able to retrieve the camera. That was essentially the main drive of the demo. And the detective faced up to Max towards the end. He said, "Are you lying to me, or are you just protecting your friend?" Because ultimately that's all that Max wants to do, is ultimately protect her friend. And I was given the choice to, speak the truth and own up to the fact that there is evidence that might help the police solve the murder of Safi, or could I protect my friend and deny them the camera as a crucial piece of evidence? I choose to do the latter. Fortunately, that was around the time that my demo ended, so I wasn't able to see the culmination and result of that, but it was definitely enough to pull me in, and I really enjoyed getting to see how Max's new power set of bouncing between timelines, very different to what she was able to do before, which was essentially rewind time in real time a couple seconds before. actually still rears its head in the demo for me during a brief stealth-centric sequence where I'm trying to avoid the gaze of Detective Edelman. And there was one instance where he spotted me, and in that scenario, rather than have you restart the chapter from the entire start, which would have honestly just been a big battery drain, Max uses her original power from the original Life is Strange, has a little bleed on her nose which tells you just about how taxing it is, specifically while she's shifting between timelines at the same time. And yeah, it just resets, and I was instantly able to go from the stealth-centric sequence where I completed it second time, so not that bad. And then I also think it's worth mentioning, because obviously this being a Life is Strange game, it does touch upon topics of abuse, suicide. I was delving into the menus after I finished my demo because I still had a bit of time left, and I was pleased to see that Deck 9 has a raft of settings that you can tweak, sort of like warnings or like skip certain moments in the story if you are worried about being exposed to that sort of stuff related to, you know, topics of transphobia, suicide, abuse, and drug use as well. So in terms of a pure accessibility perspective, I think Deck 9 games are being very cautious and courteous in terms of leaving no stone unturned on the table. You'll be able to play Life is Strange double exposure as you want and experience the story of Max Caulfield, which continues and, as I said before, is really exciting. So there you have it, guys, in terms of my preview, hands-on thoughts of Life is Strange double exposure live from the Gamescom 2024 show floor. The full game releases October 29th, 2024, so not too much longer to go. Anyway, if you enjoyed my thoughts and you want to see more coverage from this year's Gamescom, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the Mirror Gaming YouTube channel to stay up to date. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. I've been Aaron Potter, and I'll see you in the next one.
I'm sure we'll get to it at some point. We have all the time in the world.